All right. Main event Saturday night. Adesanya versus Yoel Romero. This is a big fight. This is a big fight that a lot of people are looking forward to. I don't know how much casual fans particularly are looking forward to it. Yoel Romero's never really won a title. Not exactly been like a super fan favorite. And Adesanya, a lot of people are starting to warm up to him, but he's still kind of relatively new. So it'll be interesting to see how many pay-per-views get sold off of it, because the casual fans are the one who drive the pay-per-view sales. Hardcore fans like myself, just huge fight fans regardless, I mean, we can't wait for this one. This is, man, sign me up. This is two real fighters who are going to get in there and going to leave it all in the octagon. So it's going to be a fascinating fight. But the question becomes, obviously, as we get into it, just like any other fight, who comes out with the victory? I'm going with Israel Adesanya on this one. Okay? I think he comes away with it. And I'll tell you why. Here's how I'll break it down. Okay, so let's start out. We'll look at Romero. Okay, a lot of people have been critical of him even getting this title shot. On paper, he lost 3 of the last 4. Disagree with that. I don't think he lost 3 of the last 4. I mean, that's how the judges deemed it. At the very least, I give him the win in the rematch against Robert Whittaker. First one was contested, highly contested. It was a unanimous decision for Whittaker. Personally, I'm okay with that. I gave him 3 rounds to 2. In the rematch, I gave Romero that fight. If I remember correctly, I actually had him only winning 2 rounds, but I gave both those rounds, 1 round 10-8 and 1 round 10-9, which would have been a draw, or maybe I gave 2 rounds 10-8. I can't remember 100% what it was, or if I just gave him 1 round 10-8 and then gave him another 2. It's a little fuzzy right now, specifically how I scored it. It was a back and forth fight. But I remember at the time I thought I won, and then when I rewatched it to, handicap, to brush up on everything to handicap for this fight, I thought he won. But I know I scored at least one of those rounds today, 10-8. Man, he was hurting Whittaker hardcore. Like, he had dude on chicken legs at once or twice throughout that fight for sure. And then you've got his last fight with Paulo Costa. Same thing, you could give that fight either way, but he could have easily won that fight. On paper, he could have easily won that fight. I gave him the second round. It was first round went to Costa, second round went to Romero. Particularly, he scored that takedown in the closing seconds, and then the third round was really tight. But I would have given it to Romero. So he could easily have only lost 1 fight out of his last 4, which would have been that first fight against Whittaker coming into this. So let's not look and get hung up and get caught up on this. Oh, he lost 3 of his last 4 fights. What are we doing? He shouldn't get this fight. Don't even think about it like that, man. The judges are something else. Just look at the man's performance. Okay? So, here's the thing. Here's the way that he fights. First of all, you look at dude, he looks like an absolute freak, right? He's a beast. He's over here in the pre-fight press conferences doing backflips and stuff. 42 years old. Might even be older than that. You know how Cuba is with those birth certificates. We've seen it before through their Olympic athletes. So it wouldn't be a surprise if he was actually 44 or 45, something like that. Nevertheless, on paper, he's 42 years old, and the man's still a freak at that age. But look at the way he fights. Okay, he's always been a guy who fought in spurts, right? Incredibly explosive, incredibly athletic, incredibly powerful. Olympic silver medalist when it comes to wrestling. Fights in spurts. Plays it real slow at times, kind of lulls you into this false sense of security, and then explodes, whether it's a takedown or whether he's going for strikes. Just explodes and really has a way of catching guys off guard. And I feel like in his last couple fights, he actually played into that even more. Because earlier in his career, he always used to be known for having cardio issues, right? And I think the last time we really saw that was his fight with Weidman. He was really starting to get gassed in that fight as it went on. Ends up scoring that flying knee knockout. Okay, and then he comes out for his Luke Rockhold fight, and he didn't make weight for that fight, and he looked bad. And he was losing that fight because he was not throwing a lot of strikes at all. He was really playing into that. I don't know if he was just playing into his style as far as moving slow, conserving energy, trying to fix what the cardio issues he's had, and really picking and choosing his spots when he exploded, or if it was just he had such a nasty weight cut. It was horrible. He felt gassy. He was like, the only way I can even make it is if I do it this way. Not really sure. But he was losing that fight. He was very inactive for large portions of it. But then, of course, as we know, Rockhold ends up getting starched, right? It's happened a few times, even since then with Jan Blachowicz. But Romero ends up closing the distance, hits him with that left hand, part of the the last of the 1-2 combo, and smokes him, gets him up against the cage, lands one more. Rockhold's out of there, knocked out cold. So Romero ends up coming out with the win out of that one. And then, and it seemed like he got the cardio issue fixed though when it came to his rematch with Whitaker. It seemed fine there. Went all 5 rounds. Same type of style in the sense of like at that point he was like, I remember when he came out in the first round, very flat-footed, right? Totally conserving his energy, not barely moving at all. And I think that was an answer to the first fight because he got really gassed in that one too. Really started to slow down towards the end of the fight, that first one with Whitaker. So the second one he comes out, does the same thing except accentuates it even more, right? Explodes at times. Other than that, doing everything he can to conserve all of his energy. And it usually works really well. It usually works really well against guys. He's not exactly a technical striker. His footwork is off. Sometimes he'll cross his feet. He'll put one in front of the other as though he's switching stances between orthodox and southpaw when he's coming forward to really close the distance. He is much more based off of like it's wrestling type footwork versus striking, be it boxing or kickboxing. And he also really leans on that explosiveness, man. He really counts on that to be able to get in there, close that gap, and do the damage he needs to do. And he also leans on his power when he does connect. Doesn't throw a lot of setup shots. Doesn't have a high work rate by any stretch of the imagination. Really relies on what works for him, right? And for the most part, it works out all right, right? Like it works out really well. He's good to go. But I think that's actually going to match up very poorly with Israel Adesanya. Like I said, man, I said it before and I'll say it again. Styles make fights. I'll say that forever because it's always going to be the truth, right? But here's the thing. You look at Israel Adesanya, okay? Now look at the way he fights. He's going to be the most accomplished striker that Romero has ever faced, okay? Now if this was just a hardcore wrestling match, I mean, obviously Romero's going to be what, like a 10-1 favorite, 20-1 favorite, okay? But it's not. It's an MMA match, okay? Every fight starts on the feet. Israel Adesanya is going to be by far the most accomplished striker that Yoel Romero has faced. Okay, he's got the background of the kickboxing, and you see what he's done when he's come over to MMA. So he's going to be much taller, much longer, much more technical when it comes to striking, much more accurate. Doesn't have the power, one punch power, but he doesn't need it either. Adesanya's game isn't built around that. Okay, he controls the distance very well. He closes when he wants to close, and then he backs up when he wants to back up. Okay, that's going to be a problem for Romero. Romero, he's the smaller guy a lot of times, and typically he sits on the outside, and he'll get picked apart, and he'll get caught with shots, and then he'll explode. Okay, and he's normally, like I said, he's normally able to get away with it, but that's going to be a problem with Adesanya. Okay, Adesanya is going to do the same thing in the sense that he's going to be on the outside, he's going to shoot his shots, and he's going to pick you apart. Okay, that's all going to be the same. However, he's better at controlling, he's taller and he's longer than anybody who Romero has faced, and he's better at controlling distance. Romero isn't good at controlling distance. He'll close that gap, but a lot of times he moves in so fast, he actually ends up smothering his work and he gets really close. And he'll end up getting into a clinch sometimes, and sometimes he'll get close enough for the clinch, and then he'll initiate, try to grab double underhooks with like a Greco-Roman type of lock, the way he'll come in, try to get both underhooks, and then throw a guy down. A lot of times he'll try to implement a trip at that point. So he's not really good at controlling the distance. He can close that gap fast, but he smothers his work. Adesanya's good at actually controlling the distance and staying where he wants. So he's going to be able to pick Romero apart from the outside, long jab, long leg kicks, push kicks, teep kicks, even head kicks. He likes to throw that question mark. All of that stuff's going to be there for him whenever he wants it. Okay, Romero's going to give you plenty of time to work from the outside, and Adesanya is going to rack up those points and cause damage during those times, particularly if he goes to that leg, that front leg. And when Romero tries to close that distance, it's for the most part, it's not going to work out well. Adesanya is going to see it coming. He's going to be able to back up. He's going to be able to cut little angles here and there, small shifts where he can keep dude off of his game, and get out of the way. Okay. Now there's a potential good and a potential bad from that. I'll start out with the bad. The potential bad is that sometimes Adesanya backs straight up. Sometimes he backs straight up. He's so tall that a lot of times he'll lean back and back up, and he's 99% of the time he's able to get away from trouble. But every now and then you get, when you back straight up, you'll get caught by a guy who really comes through. The type of guy who really comes through is Yoel Romero. Like I just said, he smothers his work, so he doesn't necessarily throw a punch. He throws a punch where you're at, but he's coming in so fast behind it, right? And if you pull straight back on a guy like that, who's going so far and so fast with that punch, you do run the risk of not being able to get out of the way of it. You go to back up, and it still catches you. Case in point, look at how he caught Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold thought he was slick, right? He's sitting there, he's working from the outside, he's landing his shots. He knew exactly when. Look at the replay on that when he got knocked down, okay? He knew exactly when Yoel Romero was coming in. And as a matter of fact, he tried to time him perfectly with a check right hook. Okay, he thought he was being slick. Oh, okay, I'm touching him. He's going to come inside. As soon as he tries to come in, I'm going to catch him with this check right hook. Bang, it's going to do some damage. Typically, that's a solid game plan, right? Like, guys land check hooks all the time. And do a lot of damage to people. But here's the problem. You did it at the wrong time against the wrong guy. Yoel Romero was coming in too fast for you to be able to time, for Rockhold to be able to time it. And he shoots through so much that his punch wasn't going to land short. Rockhold tried to back up. He tried to back, lean straight back, take like a half step back, and then also lean back to get out of the way and then land that left hook. For him, it's a right hook because he's a southpaw. You can't do that against a guy like that. What you need to do is cut an angle and get off to the side. You can't just continually try to back up, and lean back and get away from his shots. You do, he ends up coming over the top like that with that left hand, catches him straight on the jaw, out of there. Right? Smokes him. So, you got to know who you're fighting and you got to make adjustments. And Adesanya does cut angles a lot. He'll even lean back sometimes and lean off to angles when he does things. Okay? But not 100% of the time. So it's one thing he's going to have to watch. But I mentioned there's a good thing from the way he fights it too. And that is he counters. Okay, so Adesanya does two things here. He's going to come in and lead. He's got no problem taking the lead, leading the dance, right? So he's going to come in, and that's going to be him working from the outside, setting up shots, doing things here and there, trying to dictate what he wants to go, how he wants to do it. Okay, but if you watch that Calvin Gastelum fight, and even the Whitaker fight, one of the things that he did in both of those fights was he countered the counter. Okay, so what I mean by that is he'd go in and he would lead. Gastelum or Whitaker would shoot a counter shot based off of what Adesanya did, and he would actually turn around and counter their counter. And when you counter a guy's counter, it's typically a pretty dangerous shot because he's not expecting that. He's thinking he's lining you up. He's thinking he's getting the right angle, the perfect setup. He's got his timing. And then all of a sudden he shoots, misses, bang, and you're right back there over the top on him. Like, it's a rough go of it. But if you can do it, man, you're in a phenomenal position because on the one hand, you're racking up points, you're leading the dance, you're being aggressive, and then as soon as he thinks he's going to get his shot, you got an answer for that too. Okay? It's beautiful a lot of times in the way that he fights because he's so brilliant technically, and he's got power, but he lands it through accumulation. And then on top of that, you want to throw in Yoel Romero's wrestling. I mean, look, he's by far the most accomplished wrestler on paper in the UFC, right? Olympic silver medalist, particularly in that division. It's not even close. But you look at his background, he doesn't necessarily use wrestling as much as you would think of a man who's that accomplished would. He does use it on occasion, though. So the question is, can he take down Adesanya? Can he land some ground and pound? Because when he comes in there and he lands some elbows, man, he can do some real work, right? Sure, he could take him down. Can he hold him down? That's a little different. That's a little different. Probably take him down. Maybe you can hold him down for a little bit, and Adesanya will get back up. But on another level, we got to look and say Adesanya is actually more accomplished than most people probably give him credit for when it comes to defensive wrestling. Okay, Derek Brunson didn't get him at all. Didn't get him down at all. He stuffed all of those takedowns and made it look easy while he was doing it. Okay, now I get it. Derek Brunson is no Yoel Romero. Nobody's going to make that argument. But he's not a bum either. You stuff all those takedowns round number 1 when you're fresh and dry from Derek Brunson. I mean, you get a thumbs up for that. That's accomplishment. That's a good job. So it's not going to be easy. And like I just said, when I referenced the cardio issue, those takedowns, they're so explosive, and Yoel Romero puts so much into it. And if he starts trying to go for multiple takedowns, particularly if he misses a couple at first, it's just going to gas him out and he's going to get smoked, man. If he gets tired in this fight, Adesanya is going to knock him out quick because he is so proficient from the outside. He is so good at landing his shots, so hard, so accurate, so smooth, mixes it up so well with all the different tools he has that if you're tired standing in front of that man, you're done. Okay? So Romero, if he wants to win, he can't get tired. Honestly, I think he has to score. I think he has to get a stoppage on this one. I think it's going to be really hard style-wise for him to get a points victory over Adesanya. You know, he's always got the chance of getting a stoppage victory. The man's too explosive and too strong. He's done so much. But it's going to be a rough one. It's going to be a rough one, you know. So the one X factor in this fight is I saw an interview recently where Adesanya said he caught a staph infection leading up to the fight. He doesn't predict it being an issue. Of course he's going to say that. Staph infections are no joke. Those antibiotics will wear you out. They will take days of training from you, no doubt about it. You are going to feel the most lethargic you've ever felt in your life if you're on antibiotics that are killing a staph infection off. Okay? So we don't exactly know. We're not 100% sure how that's going to play out. You know, that being said, I'm going with Adesanya in this one. Younger, bigger, taller. I won't say stronger. Yoel Romero is definitely stronger and the better wrestler, but that striking that he's got is going to be something. It's going to be something special in this one. He can lead. He can counter. He can counter the counter. He's got better defense. Every tool available to him as far as strikes, with the kicking, with the punching, with the elbows, with knees. I think he actually might get the stoppage in this one as well. It'd be a late stoppage if he does. I predict it'd be like a round 4 or round 5 once he was able to wear Romero down, possibly even land some body shots, something along those lines, and then go in there and get it. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Yoel Romero is tough as nails. So getting a stoppage against him any other way prior to late, it's going to be a tall order. It'll be a tall order, my friend, but I really think that he can do it. I really think he can. So I'm going to be putting out the video tomorrow where we explain what we're putting on who. I know in the previous video I dropped yesterday, I said we're going with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and then in this one we're going to go with Adesanya. Both of those are going to be bets. So I'll be giving a video tomorrow where I actually detail how the whole betting process goes. Not like walking up to the window and all of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about determining your winning percentage and then how much you're wagering based off of the size of your bankroll on that individual fighter. So it'll be a good video. It's going to be kind of the basis for how we break for how I do the bets, right? And we're going to be following step by step every single bet. Nothing will be in the dark. There'll be nothing funny going on with it. Like you see most of the people on the internet, this is just going to be straightforward, straight up. I come out, give you the pick, tell you based off of our bankroll how much we're betting on it, and then we follow it all year long, and you'll be able to see just how successful you can be by doing things correctly with discipline. So like I said, in this one, going with Adesanya, I think he's going to be the superior striker, and that's what's going to carry the day for him, possibly even catching that late stoppage. So let me know what you guys think. Man, I'm super hyped for this one. Couldn't be looking forward to it any more than I am. Should be great. So can't wait to see how it turns out.